Hey everybody, Patty Ann here. Today I'm going to show you how to change some text, some font, some lettering in Embrilliance Essentials. You can resize it and you can change the colors of it. Now the font that I bought, or I have that I'm using today, I actually bought from an Etsy shop, and I'll show you that. Well, actually, you can see right behind me the little guy I'm going to be doing, this little Indian guy. Turkey Indian guy. And the other thing that I'm going to talk about is that I went ahead and got this Braden font. Now I'm not affiliated with this Etsy store at all. It's named Petunia Petals Designs. I'll have links for you down below in case you want to check it out. Also, I ended up naming my little turkey. Do you see there's a name right here for this guy? I ended up naming mine Ollie. If I'd been able to go live, I would have asked you, can you tell me your child's name? If you're the first one to do so, I'll put your kid's name on here, make a t-shirt and send it out to you. But since my internet here in the mountains doesn't allow me to go live very easily, I thought I'd just put the name Ollie in there. And you're wondering, where the heck did I get the name Ollie? From this book right here. If you haven't read this book before, it's really a cute story to read about turkeys. And one of the turkeys happens to be named Ollie. But anyway, let's get started. So this is what it's going to look like. And I've printed it out. And in addition to printing it out like that, I printed it out with the crosshairs on it. So I'll know how to place it in my 5x7 hoop. I also went ahead and cut out and pressed all the little pieces that I'll need, because these are all applique pieces, all these pieces. And I love the colors that I was able to choose. So anyway, let's go down to my program here and I'll show you how I knew about what size to cut these things. And check out the lettering. Okay, here we are in the software, and I've already brought little Ollie in. As you can see, I have it so it just shows stitches. Let me scroll in a little bit just to refresh your memory. Look at it, just so shows the stitches. If, however, I click on the word 3D right here, it changes it and it makes it look like real stitches, right? Makes it three-dimensional. So I'm going to go back out. I want to see all of my hoop. Remember from yesterday, we learned if you hit the letter 0, it shows your whole hoop where you need it. Okay, right now, if you look down here in the lower right-hand corner, I want you to see that there's a red warning box. For a moment, I was like, what the heck is that there for? And then I realized it's because I have this other word, Ollie, out here that I'm going to work on. If I bring this name in here, notice that the red box is now gone. And I knew I had chosen the 5x7 design, and I knew I had the 5x7 frame or hoop showing up here, so I didn't understand that. But here's because I have this out here, and look, it's back. But why I have this here is I wanted to show you how I change easily each one of these letters into a different color. It's really easy. So all you have to do is this. You're going to click on your image and then click on the first letter you want to change right there. So watch what happens in the properties panel when I do that. First, I click on the word and notice the properties panel over here on the right. It has the word. I'm in the letter area. But then when I click on the box to the one I want to change, like that, okay, you'll notice it makes some extra boxes. We don't need to worry about those right now. There's a triangular shaped one at the top, then there's a square, and then a triangular shaped one at the bottom. And we'll learn more about those later. But right now what I'm going to do is I'll just change this color by coming over here. And if I want to change it to something else that's already in my palette, I can do that. I'll change it to the blue and say OK. The next thing I want to do is I clicked off, click back on, and I clicked on this black. Now I'm going to change that to red. So I can change it to the red and say OK. The next one I'm going to do, and I can just click on this center box right here, and that chooses that letter. And I can change that one to green as I've done earlier. Here it is. OK. The next one again, I don't want to click on the triangle at the bottom, and I don't want to click on the triangle at the top. I want to click on the box in the center. That selects it, and now I can come over here and I can make it a different color again. And the last one, I'll do that the same thing. Click, come over to the color, change it to the blue that I had used. Say OK. And that's how easy it is to change the coloring of any image that you're making. And it doesn't matter what font you're using, the same technique would work. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and grab all of this, just like that, just drawing a line over both of them. I'm going to go to Edit, Group. Then I'm going to move them over here out of the way. Now I'm going to copy this and put it over here. So I'm going to come up here to the copy, which is this right here, the two pieces of paper, and I'm going to say paste. So what that did was it pasted another one right here. And I wanted to do that just so I could dissect this for you. Oopsie, I didn't want to make it that small. So you could see how this, what parts of this image I use to decide how big to cut my materials that I'm going to use. So I'm going to ungroup, click on this one to select it, and I actually could get rid of the word Ollie. Going to click on this one to select it, and I'm going to go Edit, Ungroup. And that's going to allow me to pick this thing apart. So this is a piece I don't really need. I could delete it. This is a piece I could use, or this is a piece I could use. One of these is the placement stitch. One is the material stitch or the tack down stitch. So I'll only need one of these, and that will tell me how large of a piece of fabric I need to have. So I can look down here in the lower corner. It says the selected is 4 13/16 or 5 5/8, or I can come up here to the top where it says the same information, a little bit easier. So if it's 4 13/16, you know that's almost 5. So I'd probably make my fabric I'm going to cut maybe 6 by, this is almost 6, so I might make it 6 by 7, okay, just to make sure I have enough fabric. So I'd cut that, and I could actually write that, note that on a piece of paper. For my teal color that I'm going to use, I want it to be 6 by 7, and then I could delete that. Then I'll bring out this piece maybe. Okay, I'll get rid of this. This is the satin stitches, and one of these is the placement and one is the tack down. So I can get an idea of just how big this is. It is 3.5 by 4 1/4. So I'd probably make this more like 5 by 6 maybe, you know, just to be extra sure. And then delete. And I would just continue doing that through the different pieces that I know are applique pieces. So this one again, I can see it's a tiny little piece, right? It's 1 5/16 by 1. So I'd probably do 2 by 2. Again, for his little face piece, this one right here, or this other one that's still hiding in here. Either one of these two, not the satin stitch, but this one, they should be exactly the same. 2 1/8, 1 5/8, and 2 1/8, 1 5/8. Yes. So I would just add probably an inch to each of these to make sure they're large enough. And that's all I do. The eyeballs are just a fill stitch. The gobbler thingy, I would take one of these pieces and just get an idea of how big it is and maybe add an inch to both dimensions. These eyes are just satin stitches, a fill stitch. Let's see. This is an applique piece. I'm going to delete, and I can delete that one, and I'll save this one, and again look up here to get an idea of the size and maybe make it an inch larger on both sizes when I cut it out of the fabric. This is just stitching. These are all stitches, and then I'll need this piece and this piece and this piece. So I'll get an idea of how big to make them as well on my fabric. And as I showed you in the beginning, I've already rough cut around some pieces that I'll be using for my applique. So let's go to my machine now and get started on actually doing this. I'm going to show you how to do a t-shirt, a kid's t-shirt. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this Niagara Starch and just spray this quite a bit. And I'm going to iron it because I'm not pressing it, or I'm not washing it first, but I do want it to get the wrinkles out and maybe shrink just a little bit if it's going to do a lot of shrinking. So go ahead and do that. As you know, I've already done this to my material that I'm going to be using as my appliques. So I've already shrunk them a bit as well. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my mesh, my no-show fusible mesh, and I'm going to cut it a little bit larger than what my hoop is. So I'll unroll this, put this here, and I'm just going to cut it a little bit larger than my hoop. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my shirt inside out so I can press this to the inside. Obviously, I want it on the front of the shirt. And I can give this another little bit of a press. And what I might like to do also is make sure I have it in the center, find the center of the shirt, just roughly for right now. Just finger press like that, open it back up. Then I'll know about where to put my no-show mesh. Remember, on no-show fusible mesh, there's a side that's got some shiny to it and a dull. The shiny is the glue side, so that's what you want to put down on your fabric. And I'll read the instructions. It says to do it with the lowest setting, and I have it on the highest setting. Okay, that seems pretty good to me. And this time I will mark where the center of the shirt is again. So next up, I'm going to take my piece that I printed out with these marks on it and place it where I'd like it to be on my design. Notice this one says Brevard because that's what I was going to name it at first, or Bernard. Okay, so I want this to go right on the center line here. And where's the line I made? There it is, up there. So that, if that's centered, then this other part should be as well. I think that I want it up a little higher like that. Maybe about 3 fingers down. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my friction pen or any kind of a marker that comes off. And I hope this one writes. I'm going to make a mark here and here, here, and here. So now what I'm going to do is take my ruler and draw lines. Lining up the little marks I made. And draw a line like this. And a line this way. All right, there's my placement, and I'm going to check this again to see how that looks. There's that line and that one, and that one looks great. So now I'm going to put my hoop inside of my shirt. And then bring the top part of my hoop up and move this so that these little marks on the hoop show or match the crosshairs that I made. Hey everybody, yesterday I tried to videotape the final bit of making this shirt, And unfortunately, it seems my camera wasn't working properly, but I can show you the final shirt. Now, this one turned out really, really cute. It does have a little bit of an error to it. So this is just one I'm going to give away to charity, I guess. The issue was when I put the blue on originally, I should have put some temporary stickum on that so it would stick down. But what happened was it got jammed up in the needle, around the needle, because it folded over. And when I tried to get it out, I must have messed up the placement of my, there's that thing that always moves, the hoop mover. And I should have turned my machine off and turned it back on to recalibrate it, and it would have been perfect. But I just manhandled it and got the fabric out of there and continued on. So what happened then was, do you see that red? The red stitching right here? It's off where it should be. Okay, and a little bit more of these threads need to be cut off, I see. But otherwise, it turned out perfectly, and I really like it a lot. So I hope you kind of got the idea of how to switch up text so you can make it all different colors. And didn't that turn out really cute? I love how that turned out. So again, thanks for joining me, you guys. If you have any questions, let me know. If there's anything that you'd like me to teach about, go to our Facebook group. It's listed down below, and you can ask there, and I'll make you a tutorial if I'm able. Also, check out my links down below. I really appreciate it when you use them. Oh, and by the way, right now, Embrilliance is on sale. I'll have the link for you down below, as well as the code you need to use. So thanks again for joining me. I'll see you all again soon. Bye.